Hey, welcome back to the Realistic Nutrition Podcast. I'm so excited to bring you this conversation. It lit up ideas for me and I learned so much. We're speaking to Amanda Nighbert, who's a registered dietitian and the creator of the Lean program. We're going to get into that just a little bit later in the episode, but we talk about more how the all or nothing mindset doesn't work for losing weight. In fact, it's hurting you more than it's helping you. And Amanda puts together these real strategies for real people who have real, hectic, and often crazy lives, which, hey, that's me. I think that's a lot of you. We're all busy. We have the kids we're loading to and from practice, school, trying to work, trying to get our stuff together, cleaning the house, just that seems to be our lives right now. So having this conversation with Amanda is such a game changer. And I know you're going to get some incredible key points and takeaways from it. So let's get into the episode. Hey, Amanda, welcome to the podcast.
I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm really excited. I did a little stalk on you. Not a little. I did a deep dive. Let's just be honest. It's who I am. And I love your philosophy and how you're about real strategies, real people. We're not trying to alter people's lifestyles altogether where they're a totally different person, right? And I think that's what's so refreshing about you and even others like you, because we see it all the time, or we see it from our friends where all of a sudden they do one thing and then they alter the whole lifestyle. But then 6 months later, it falls apart.
They're right back to where they started.
Right. Yeah. So Amanda, why don't you give just a little brief history, introduce yourself to my listeners and just say who you are, what you're about, so they can get to know you.
Absolutely. So my name is Amanda Nighbert. I'm a registered dietitian. I've been in the field of weight loss nutrition for over 2 decades and worked in the clinical setting in a hospital setting for nearly 16 years, and then branched out about 5 years ago into this kind of online space. And what I learned working so much in a hospital setting and seeing clients kind of over and over is that, number one, people are confused. There's so much noise in the nutrition space, and it's so conflicting that people ultimately become paralyzed and end up doing nothing because they think anything they do is bad in some sort of way. And if they do try to do something, they ultimately think that in order for them to be successful, they have to be perfect. And like you were mentioning earlier, they have to give up so much of who they are and what their life is in order to find success, that initially maybe they see, progress in the beginning, but in the long run, it just doesn't work because it doesn't jive with their lifestyle. So I'm really about teaching people how to simplify nutrition, specifically for health, wellness, and weight loss, but also helping people learn to break the all or nothing mindset.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what we're going to talk about, is why the all or nothing mindset really doesn't work. So when a client comes to you, what are your initial steps? Do you find that they're finding that it's an all or nothing, or sorry, do you find that they have the all or nothing approach and they're like, okay, I'm ready to cut out everything? Or how does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people come to me and, I teach a very balanced approach to eating. All foods fit. There are no foods off limits. You can have carbs, you can have fats, you can have alcohol. It's all about the portion and ratios in which you eat them. And initially people are like, oh, well, I thought carbs are bad for you. Oh, I thought fruit was bad for you. Oh, well, my doctor told me if I eat, more than 1,200 calories, I'm not going to lose weight. And again, it's this very pressure that they felt in the past from other health providers or their past experience with success and failure, that they're living in that all or nothing mindset. And it's really one of the first things that I have to help them break is that progress, not perfection, kind of mentality. And there's a lot of tools that I use in my signature program. So I have a 7-week signature program called Lean. Lean stands for Living Energized and Nourished. And we work on a lot of foundational things. I also find in this space that people want to look at some really upper level nutritional strategies, like let's say lectins. We want to be mad at lectins, or we want to be mad at oxalates or things like that. And so then we're villainizing like beans, and we're villainizing peppers. We're villainizing kale, and I'm like, buddy, listen, kale ain't your problem, okay? Like, let's stop villainizing healthy food. Let's focus on foundational stuff. And then if that's a step you need in the future, we'll go there. So lots of foundational work on top of, really quantifying what that all or nothing mindset, really means.
I love that because, yeah, it seems like we as humans are always trying to find the villain. What's the problem? It's not me. It's not my habits. It's that kale. It's that damn kale, I tell you. It's,
Yeah, yeah.
and
The fruit's making me fat.
yeah. Uh, I'm thinking of my mom, and even recently I've heard her say, like, I think it was something about bread, and she's like, oh, it's just so fattening. I'm like, what? No.
Yeah.
And like, you have to tone. I'm like, no, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. But so many of us, especially like people my mom's age or whatever, like they were through the 90s diet fads where fat was the enemy. And it was like your sugar-free jellos and all the stuff that were healthy that, one, didn't fill you, and two, just had everything thrown in them. So how do you go and start changing your mindset about that, knowing that you can add in a bagel if you want it, or eat the avocado, eat your peanut butter, it's not bad for you? Like, how does someone after years of diet mentality start changing that thought process?
Yeah, and I can totally relate to that. I mean, I'm 45. I grew up in the fat-free generation, and that's basically how we have been developing nutritional guidelines, is based on the fear of macronutrients. It began in the 1977 is when the first food guide pyramid was released, the first nutritional guidelines, and that was the beginning of the fear of fat. And what happened is manufacturers actually ran with that, created a whole new meal category called snacks, which did not exist before, the 1977s. And basically we're like, well, if fat's bad, we're going to take it all out. And so what they did is they took all the fat out of their food, but what did they add? Carbs and sugars. So we ended up eating, 4 times the amount of carbs and sugars that we were eating. So fast forward to today, and now it's all about the fear of carbs and sugars, So now everyone's like, oh, carbs and sugars are bad for you. And in reality, yes, excess amounts of fat are bad for you. Excess amounts of carbs and sugars are bad for you. But it's not about all or nothing, You don't have to eliminate one or the other in order to seek success. There is balance there. And that's ultimately what people have forgotten, is that we lived a very balanced, plate for the longest time. Meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and green beans is a very traditional meal that we've eaten, and it's very balanced. So, again, the first thing that I try to show them is that that mindset is driving them to view foods as good and bad. And there's no such thing. There's no such thing as good foods and bad foods. There's foods that we eat a lot of, and then there's foods that we eat a little of. What are you showing me?
Says you didn't cheat on your diet. Food is not moral.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
your food didn't
Exactly.
kick your grandma in the street. Like, it's not bad.
Yeah. So, the biggest thing is just that initial awareness, being able to identify when you are putting moral value on food, good versus bad, and then allowing yourself to kind of talk through that and say, no, actually, this works. And I actually have 3 main strategies that I teach to really help break this all or nothing mindset. And we can kind of dive into each one individually. And the first one is this like 80-20 rule. I think that this is such a great principle to work into your diet in all aspects of your life. 80% of the time, you want to be, eating the foods, doing the actions, getting the workouts, taking the supplements, whatever it may be, that fulfill your health and wellness goals, that make you feel the way you are aiming to feel, that create the identity that you want to create. 20% of the time, you're doing whatever the heck you want. All right. You are celebrating your birthday. You're celebrating Cinco de Mayo. You are eating your traditional foods that your mom cooked all your life, basically with no regret or no remorse, because you have that balance, that kind of 80-20. And I really teach my clients how to actually quantify that. Okay. So, for example, let's say you eat 3 meals a day, 7 days a week. That's 21 meals. Okay. 17 meals is 80%. So every week, 17 meals are the meals that count, the meals that you put a lot of effort in, the meals that, again, make you feel the way you want to feel. 3 to 4 meals are more discretionary. They're more flexible. They allow you to enjoy life. And if you see that balance within your week and you're able to see, well, okay, Tuesday night it wasn't the perfect meal. I didn't feel great after it. All right, that's one of my, I call them flex meals.
Yeah.
I don't like to call anything like cheat. We're not cheating, again, assigning moral value. It's not a cheat day. It's not a cheat meal. We're flexing a little bit away from our healthy habits. So I love that 80-20 approach. You can use that. I love to use that approach with alcohol. Because a lot of, especially women, we're consuming more alcohol in the last 2 years than we have ever. And I know before I started to quantify 80-20, I thought 20% was Friday and Saturday, right? If you're drinking only 20% Friday, Saturday. But if you look at a 30-day month, 20% is 6 days. It's not 8, So your ability to kind of quantify and say, you know what, my goal is only to drink 20% this month. So I'm going to take off, this Friday and this Friday, or I'm going to drink 6 times this month. Again, it gives you that structure to know that, you have the ability to enjoy what you want, but you're creating that structure that's going to give you the progress you're looking for.
I've never had it phrased that way before, where you're looking at in a 30-day time. Like, that's genius. You just, like, so many light bulbs just went off in my head. I love that.
Yeah. And I actually, and we can share this with your listeners, I give everybody what I call this habit tracker. So this is like one of my completed habit trackers. And again, it's very easy to think you're putting in the effort, but in reality, are you really, And I think that that's probably the most frustrating thing is a lot of people will end their month and say, man, I busted my butt this month. I was perfect. I did awesome. I did all the things. But in reality, did you? Did you do enough to make progress? There's enough to make maintenance. There's enough to make progress. There's enough to backslide. And actually kind of ticking off these things and then going back and actually looking at your percentage of effort can be very, eye-opening to a lot of people. So I love this strategy. And here's the thing, okay? Not everyone starts at 80-20. All right. For example, I had a client I was working with, and he was drinking every night. He had one bourbon every night. And he's like, I know you say alcohol once or twice a week. And I was like, is that an achievable goal for you? And he's like, no, it's not. And I said, well, what feels achievable for you? And he said, let's try 4 days a week. And I said, great. All right. If you go from drinking 7 days a week to only drinking 4 days a week, that's progress. Such progress. And it's a great way to quantify with 10,000 steps. I mean, who says you have to walk to 10,000 steps a day?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's like, if you're only walking 2,000, 3,000 steps a day, if you set your goal to walk 10,000, you're going to fail. All right. You are setting yourself up to fail. So instead of setting it at 10,000, if you're averaging 2, average 3, So again, 80-20, for you, 80-20 may be walking 3,000 steps a day.
Yes.
80-20 for you may be only drinking 4 days a week, So it's really about identifying, again, what your goal is and how you're going to, manipulate it to fit where you are and where you want to go.
Everyone's nutrition is personal. It should be personalized. And I'm going to go off context here and go into this 10,000 steps a day thing. If you can do it, great. Like, I think that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
But when you hit, say, 8,000 steps and you're beating yourself up about it, and yet that's a goal, like a milestone, that's where it's an issue. Someone like myself, I usually get, like, so say I had 5,000 steps. but yet I killed it in the gym with weightlifting where I'm not doing a bunch of steps too. Like it doesn't take that into consideration. So
Yeah.
I think it's a good, like, I understand the whole, we should be moving more. It doesn't have to be exercise. We should be, getting up and walking, standing up. I get it. But when it makes someone feel bad about themselves, where it can actually hinder them and they could retreat, that's when it's a problem. And I love that you're giving your clients permission to do what's right for them.
Well, that's the all or nothing mindset,
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
Again,
Exactly.
setting up unrealistic goals, that you're never going to reach because you think that's what it takes, and then not reaching the goals. And instead of seeing your success in the 8,000, you give up and you decide to only walk 4,000.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So having the all or nothing mentality, and that looks different for every single person, but maybe if you're listening, that means you're like, I'm going to get up 4 a.m. every morning, work out when you're normally sleeping till late. That you'll miss one and then you'll be like, well, I'm done. Or maybe it's, I'm going to eat quote unquote clean for the next forever, 30 days, do whole 30 or whatever. And then you life happens and you have to get drive through or, pick up something from the grocery store that's not on quote unquote plan. You feel like a failure. And instead of moving on from that meal and enjoying it, it's all of a sudden, well, I messed up. So I may as well eat everything in the pantry today. Oh, it's a weekend. So I'll just have a good weekend. Oh, I'll start again Monday. And then you restrict yourself. And it's this vicious, vicious cycle rather than accepting these foods, enjoying them, and moving on, not giving them the power. I'm not a soapbox right now. I could go on, but giving the power away to these outside sources that shouldn't have power.
Yeah, absolutely. And that actually directly leads into my second tip
Oh, perfect.
for breaking the all or nothing mindset. So, number one is, living 80/20. Number two is dropping the might as well thinking. All right. So, just like you said, let me give you an example. You walk into work Friday morning and somebody brought in a box of hot, fresh donuts and you try really hard to resist because donuts do not currently align with your health and wellness goals, but you end up having a few. For so many, this triggers the might as well thinking. Well, might as well have nachos for lunch and pizza and beer for dinner because I've already blown it. And for so many others, it's Friday. It turns into, this is my favorite saying, might as well eat like an asshole all weekend long and start fresh on Monday. When in reality, those 1, 2, 3 donuts did not make or break your success. It's what you ultimately chose to do after them that did. So, your ability to learn to reset immediately after a meal that doesn't align with your health and wellness goals is such a powerful strategy to help you create the consistency that you need for long term success. So, again, recognizing that a morning of donuts is not a big deal as long as it doesn't turn into nachos at lunch, pizza, and beer for dinner. Go get right back on the same path that you were on prior to those donuts showing up.
Yeah. I actually had a client message me late last night and she's just like, I'm going to go for sushi. We usually have yam fries and sushi. And like, we have this big thing. She's like, do I not eat leading up to it? I'm like, no, no, no. I'm like, eat normally. Eat as you normally do. Try to eat something before you go so you're not starving because she has to travel to another
Starving.
town. And I'm like, and enjoy it. And when you're full, stop. You
Stop.
don't have to eat
Yeah.
it all. And again, we're giving it so much power versus what it really is. It's food. I mean, hey, I get it. Sometimes things taste so good, you don't want it to end.
Yeah,
But
but sometimes they don't taste good and we keep eating them,
exactly.
And so
Yeah.
that's another big concept. People have a real big issue with food waste. I
Yeah.
don't know if you see
Oh, yeah.
that,
I was raised that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to throw food away. Yeah, we all grew up in the Clean Your Plate Club
Yeah.
because there are kids starving to death in
Yeah.
Africa. That's
Yeah.
what we were always told. So heaven forbid we leave food on our plate, and it was obviously such misguided information. But here's what I always say: you're either going to waste it in the trash or you're going to waste it in your body. What you choose, okay? And I really encourage my clients to really start actually tasting their food. And it's like what you said, you know, if you pick up that donut and you eat it slowly and you feel how it tastes and you feel, you know, the sensation and it brings you joy and you want to have 3 of those joys, go for it. Okay. But if you bite into that donut and it's not as good as you expected it to be, throw it away.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not obligated to finish it, you know? And so it's like recognizing that, you know, and I think when people start to be empowered by that, then they don't feel the need to just finish something because it's in front of them. You're actually eating due to joy and pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah. I do that. I'll take a bite. Like, well, this wasn't good. Look, like, you know, not worth it.
Not worth it.
And
Nope.
same thing. We had fries for dinner a couple nights ago. We like did like poutine type thing. And I had a couple bites and I was like, no. And I put it away and went and got something different versus,
Yeah.
you know, in the past, I would have been like, not even liking it. And I would have went for seconds because it was there. It's the mentality. It's like, well, you know, you may as well. But when you slow down and listen to your body and listen to how it's responding, going, oh, I have a stomach ache, you're going to stop.
And I think when you're living in that might as well thinking, you really believe that I might as well get all my vices in today because I'm going to start back to being perfect tomorrow. You
I'm
know,
going to be good. I'm going to be good.
I'm going to be good. Yes. But when you break that might as well thinking and realize that every choice doesn't have to lead to another negative choice, that, you know, you will have donuts again in your life and they will fit, then you don't feel the need to kind of like get it all in, you know, in one day or one weekend.
You know,
And that's empowering.
It is. And something that I've talked about this before on the podcast, but you know, Halloween used to be a time where I'd be like, oh, let's load all the candy. Come on, kids. And then I realized I can have this Reese's peanut butter cup anytime I want. I can go down to 7-Eleven and go pick one up anytime. It's not in short supply. There's no scarcity mindset. So I would pick 1 or 2 things that I don't get to have often, maybe once a year. And then it was done. All of a sudden, the power was gone. It's reframing and rethinking. Oh,
I love that. That's so true. You know?
So you mentioned the might as well approach. And did you say there was one more?
Yeah, one more. So 80-20, drop the might as well thinking. And the last one is to simply always do something. You can never put your health and wellness completely on the back burner. And again, when you're living in that all or nothing mindset, the reason why you most likely choose to do nothing is because you can't possibly do it all. And so you don't see the benefit in doing something. And just recognizing that, you know, and I always say it's always like there's always a pivotal moment in your life that happens that triggers this kind of this all or nothing mindset, especially like this time of year when everyone's really dialed in, we're really motivated, you know, and that moment is like, you know, someone gets injured, you know, there's a fire, there's you know, a car accident, there's a divorce, there's a death, you know, something there's a job loss, something kind of big happens where you just don't even have the capacity to put all your effort in. And so therefore, again, you choose to do nothing. Well, in those scenarios, you have to take a step back and say, okay, well, I'm going to do something. And that something today is going to be get my 8,000 steps in, or that something today is going to be drink my water, or that something today is going to be this or that, you know, recognizing that anytime that you commit any actions towards your health and wellness goals, you are moving forward, you are making progress, versus just saying, you know, I just got to throw my hands up, I can't do anything. That's when you start to move backwards.
And we all have those days where we just want to sit on the couch and do nothing. And I have them. But then I actually moved my treadmill out to my living room because with the weather right now, I've been feeling that heaviness. And I see it and I'm like, I can get up and go for 30 minutes. If I'm going to watch TikTok on the couch, I can watch TikTok on the treadmill.
Yeah. Or even 5 minutes, you know, I mean, again, it's like when we talk about workouts, people are like, I don't have an hour to work out. Boo, you don't need an hour. Okay. If you've got 15 minutes to work out, that's better than none, you
Yeah.
know? So recognizing, again, anything, one healthy meal a day is better than none. Maybe your other two are like crap, but at least one was good.
You got some fruit, vegetables in you. Let's praise it. I
Yeah.
think now that the sun's starting to make an appearance, we don't get sun here these months. So, it
It's
affects you, right? But
brutal.
the day,
It matters.
it does. And the days
Yeah.
that the sun peaks, it's like, I'm going to go outside and exercise. People always think, 'cause I know you do a lot of exercise in your program as well. People think that you always have to be killing it in the gym all the time. And that's the only way you're going to get progress. But I mean, I'm going to ask your opinion. What about going for a walk?
Walking is the most underrated weight loss exercise there is. Yeah. I mean, I do say smoking is sitting is the new smoking. Okay. We are absolutely sitting more than we ever have. But so your ability just to get up once an hour and do a lap around your house, a lap around your office, like that type of movement is powerful. And I also like to reiterate, diet is 80%. Okay. You cannot out exercise a bad diet. And I think so many people use exercise as an excuse not to start.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter if I eat healthy, I can't exercise because I got a bum knee. So I'm not going to see progress, or my progress is going to be so slow. So I might as well not do anything. And that's completely false. What you put in your body, and even just that simple daily activity matters the most.
That's what I noticed. So we had, for all of January, our gyms were shut down here in British Columbia with the health orders. And I saw that, well, I can't work out. I can't do this. I'm like, you can go for a walk. You can walk and run up and down the stair, because it was cold. Can you do push-up? Can you do squats without weights?
Squats, push-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there are things you can do. And again, like you said, just make sure your nutrition is going well.
But
Maybe.
again, that is absolutely the all or nothing mindset. If I can't go to the
Yes.
gym,
Yes.
I can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Again, and just see. And I think the more you become aware of, oh my gosh, that's my all or nothing mindset. I'm stupid. Sure, I can do something at home, then again, you see what is ultimately your stumbling block for long-term success.
Yeah. No, I think that's brilliant. Having the all or nothing mindset for me personally in my history is all of a sudden I would have a moment where I'd feel bad about myself, and then some sort of diet ad would pop up, or someone's results on Instagram. So it's like, I need this quick result. Oh, they did that in 20 days. Cool. I can lose 10 pounds in 20 days. And then you go crazy and restrict yourself too much, where that's not what happens. Like you said, you grew up with the 90s the fad diets. The last 10, 15 years, I'm trying to think of everything I've done. Zone, Atkins, ketos, portion containers, all just like everything, like Whole30 as a diet instead of like a health thing. Everything was to lose weight as quick as possible. And it was to eat as less food as possible, 1,200 calories. Like I lived off that for years and ruined my body.
Yeah.
And that's where my business came from, was I never wanted another woman to deal with that again. Whereas now, like, goals is eat as much as you can to get where you are. Maybe it'll take a little longer, but it really doesn't, because you're not restricting yourself and binging.
No, exactly. Your progress is more steady,
Yes.
versus up and down and up and down and up and down, things like that. But I mean, that is the problem, is that, most people, they are looking for a quick fix, they're not focused on the long term. And I always say, whatever you do to lose the weight, you better be prepared to do to keep it off, because that's just how it works, So if you're going to invest, $600 a month in shakes and bars to lose 20 pounds, well, that's great. But you better be ready to live on shakes and bars for the rest of your life, because you're not going to know how to live in the real world and be successful.
I'm having flashbacks to Nutrisystem when I was 19, and I bought that. We were in another city yesterday, and we're driving around, and there was a Jenny Craig store. And my husband's like, is Jenny Craig still a thing? And like, I
Yeah.
remember the 1-800 or like, I remember the
Yes.
jingle. It's because we wanted those quick fixes and that didn't give us the tools for real life. In my real life, I'm going to have burgers. I'm
Right.
going
Right.
to have sourdough. I'm going to enjoy it. Like I have young kids. So we're going to have cupcakes for birthday parties and, stuff
And
like
you
that.
can. You
And you
can.
can,
Yeah.
exactly. And I
Yeah.
appreciate that you came on to talk about this all or nothing mindset because it's so prevalent right now.
No, it really is, and it is by far the number one thing holding you back in
Mhm.
terms of, long-term success. And, the biggest thing that you can do for yourself and your health and wellness is, the awareness of that it's happening, and then, implementing some of the strategies we talked about to, create a better mindset, a positive mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me about your lean program. Let's get into that because it sounds fascinating. Like when I was on your website, I'm like, this is the perfect program. So let's jump into that.
Yeah, so Lean is a foundational program, and again, it is about going back to the basics. Because I feel like people want to do these very upper level nutritional kind of strategies without understanding that your sleep matters, your daily activity matters, macronutrients matter. So it is a macro approach. I like to teach people the importance of macronutrient distribution. Protein is the most important macronutrient for weight loss. Most people are not consuming enough of it because they're confused. Some people are saying you
Yeah.
got to be vegan. Some people say you eat animal. Like, again, there's so much noise in the space. So I try to take out the noise and say, okay, I don't care if you eat vegan or animals, you need this much protein and this is what you should aim for, type of thing. Same thing with like carbs and fats, showing them, guess what? You can eat 150, 200 carbs a day and still lose weight. So there is a lot of a lot of nutritional awareness in the beginning. Getting people to actually understand the makeup of their food and their ability to incorporate it into their personal needs based on their weight, their age, their height, those types of things.
Yeah.
And then we work a lot on the mindset. We do I have workouts. We do time restricted eating to manage your eating window. But ultimately, I think what sets Lean apart from every other wellness program out there is the daily support and accountability. So myself and my coaches, we are interacting with you every single day. So, the expectation is we hear from you every night. How was your day? How did you feel about your day? Did you have a good day? Do you feel like it was successful? What were your wins? Did you struggle? What areas, slipped you up, caused you to stumble? So that we can kind of work with each individual and say, okay, next time, how are we going to address this, scenario so that you feel better at the end of the day when this happens? And it really gets people like looking at their life on a day-to-day basis and identifying the things that are constantly tripping them up, whether it be my kids sports practices, whether it be my work schedule, whether it be my travel schedule, that a lot of programs don't really look at that kind of nitty gritty. And I think ultimately that's why my clients see so much success, is because they have so much support. At the end of the day, we kind of all know what to do. We know not to eat like assholes. I mean,
Yeah.
basically, but we struggle to do it consistently. And that's really what I work on in Lean, is showing you what consistency looks like. It's not perfection, and helping you to create that consistency in your own life.
That's incredible. No, and it's like real life. Perfect for moms going to run
Yeah, real
soccer
life.
practice, or maybe it ran long, or little Bobby was bad. So you had to go talk to the principal after school and that screwed up your day. Life happens. So you have
Yeah.
to have these tools and strategies in place where they don't even become second nature, I mean, over time. And that's like a
Yeah.
gift that you're giving them. So that's incredible.
And ultimately, it's like a therapy session every day because we are so hard on ourselves. Like, that's what it comes down to. It's like, oh, well, I got 10,000 steps. I woke up early, got a workout. I did this, and this. but I ended up having pizza and a beer at dinner because soccer practice ran long, and so I failed. And I'm like, honey, like, let's look at, you just listed 10 wins in your day, and you're beating yourself up and defining yourself as a failure over 2 slices of pizza and a beer.
Yeah.
Let's take, and a lot of times women are like, oh man, you're right, you know. And it's just like letting them realize that you're just being so hard on yourself, and because you're being so hard on yourself, it makes it harder to do the good work, you know, because you're
Mhm.
just constantly think you're a failure. Whereas when you can get at the end of the day like that and say, well, I did all of these things good, and yeah, I had 2 pieces of pizza and a beer, but you know what, my wins outweigh, you know, that meal, so therefore this is a success. That's when the tide starts to turn.
And it sounds like that's how you're beating the all or nothing mindset too.
That's exactly
Right.
right.
Right. Focusing on those positives. I love that. So,
Absolutely.
Amanda, where can everyone find you?
Well, I'm super active on social media, especially Instagram. So you can find me at Amanda Nighbert RD. And I'm on all platforms. I'm on TikTok, I'm on YouTube. Check out my website, amandanighbert.com, for information about my lean program. It's all run through my free private app. I actually have a ton of clients north of the border. So that's exciting. And I run new sessions about every 2 weeks. So
Oh, okay. That's great. And I'm going to have everything linked in the show notes. And in time, when I have it together, you guys know how it goes. I'm going to have this all in a blog post for you as well. So all the info
progress,
will be
not
there.
perfection.
Progress, not perfection. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
So much fun. Thank you so much for having me.